Rachel Baribeau here. Want to grab a moment of your time and talk about something that is so important. If you happen across this video and you don't know who I am, I'm a national sportscaster. I was the first female host on SiriusXM. I'm a Heisman voter and the influencer and insider for the college football playoff. Very blessed in my career, but the thing that I'm most proud of is this movement that I've started called Changing the Narrative. Been across the country, literally 31 schools. It might even be more than that and counting, almost 3 years. Next month, it'll be 3 years, and many, many more schools going back out on the road at the end of this month. Wonderful things happening. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is something that we talk about in this movement. And in this movement, we talk about purpose, passion, platform. We talk about interpersonal relationships. But one of the things that people taught me, that these kings and queens, because I speak to kings and queens, I believe you call somebody by who they were created to be and you watch them rise up to it. One of the things that these kings and queens have taught me out on the road is just how important and vital it is to talk about mental health. Listen to me. We go to the doctor for our knees. We go to the doctor for our elbows. We go to the doctor for, a tear in our whatever, in our muscle, whatever it is. We go to the doctor for everything. We get yearly checkups. We do all these things, but somehow, some way, there is a stigma around mental health. There's a stigma around saying I'm not okay, saying I'm struggling. And if I do anything in my life, I want to destroy the idea of perfect. And I love social media. I love it because I connect with people. I love it because I have friends. I love it because I get to pour in. I love it because I get to learn things from people. But one of the things that social media has done to us is it is furthered this idea of perfect, that it's our 17th selfie and we look beautiful and oh my gosh, and this perfect life and this perfect relationship and this perfect marriage. And the power, like this idea of comparison being the thief of joy, man, it's a real thing. And it's permeating our young people. It's permeating all sorts of people, all ages. And it's this idea that we have to live up and I'm not as good as her and I don't look as good as her and my career's not as good and my relationship is not as good. So it's really this idea of destroying perfect. And part of that has to do with this. Y'all, we go to the doctor for everything, but somehow there's this stigma around this. And I want to tell you what I've learned from these athletes out on the road. I have learned that they are smiling for you. They're performing for you. They're performing for their schools. And inside, a lot of times they are dying. Inside, there are things they have been carrying. Inside, there are things that have broken their hearts. There's unforgiveness. There's just disbelief. There's all sorts of things. There's mental issues, all of it. And for whatever reason, because of societal issues, because of family, because of culture, all of these things, particularly with our men, but also with our queens, they don't talk about it. And for college kids, they don't talk about it for fear that they will lose their scholarship, for fear of being seen as weak, for fear of losing playing time. And if I do anything with my life, if I'm remembered for anything, I want to be remembered for making a difference and destroying the stigma around mental health. And so I'm going to start right here and right now. I'm going to tell you that I have suffered. I'm going to tell you that I have seen depression so deep and so dark that it terrified me. I'm going to go way out on a limb and tell you, because I can't expect people to do things that I'm not doing. I'm going to go way out on a limb and tell you that I've heard, and this is my personal belief as a Christian, but I've heard the voice of the enemy tell me to go get a gun and shoot myself. It was terrifying. It was terrifying. But because of my faith, because my belief in self and my faith, I was able to recognize that voice of the enemy. And listen to me, no matter what you believe, this is going on. It's a real thing in high schools, in junior highs, suicide, in all facets and walks of life, no matter what age. Our suicide rates are through the roof. More people than you know struggle with depression or have had these thoughts in their life before. And so if I'm out there asking these students and asking people to be vulnerable and to be real, I want to start right here, right now with me. And I want to tell you, because I'm sharing that I've had deficiencies and depression and that I've struggled mentally, it doesn't make me weak. Instead, it makes me so strong and so amazing. And all I would tell you is this: if you've been there, all you have to do is just take the next step and fight with me. And when you hear those voices, you tell them to shut up. When you hear those voices, if you're a Christian, whatever it may be, you ask for help. You have a plan. You have people that you are asking for help. Make sure you have a plan. As a matter of fact, I talked to somebody last night and they said, Rachel, what are you doing if this happens to you again in the middle of the night? You got to have 3 people you're going to call. You got to let them know you're going to call. Have a plan. Have a plan and fight with me and take the next step. So I just wanted to tell you today that if I'm asking people across the country to get real and be vulnerable, I'm going to get real and be vulnerable with you and tell you that I have struggled. But I am living and I am kicking life's butt and I am up and I am fighting. And because I've struggled and had those thoughts before, it doesn't make me weak. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. And as a matter of fact, it makes me so much more powerful because I have a story. I can now stand in front of a room full of men or women and say, I have been there. I have heard those voices in the middle of the night that so clearly said, go get the gun and blow your brains out. And I was able to fight through it. I was able to remember and center and calm and remember who I am and whose I am. So I want you, and I want to encourage you today, and the reason why I did this video was just to share with you and tell you to take the mask off and get real with people and have a plan. And if you are struggling, if you know a friend that is struggling, talk to them and ask them to have a plan. Ask them, what are you going to do if you're struggling from depression, if you've been down this road before, if you've ever had suicidal thoughts, what are you going to do? What's the plan? I'll be the person that you can call in the middle of the night. I'll be that person for you. And guess what? It doesn't make you weak if you've been there. It doesn't. You're sitting here, you're alive today, you're breathing, you have purpose. And because of that, it makes you a warrior. It makes you strong. I don't see myself as weak. I see myself as a queen. A queen that has a story. A queen that can relate to anybody who's ever walked where I've walked. And I can tell them I have been there and I live to tell about it. So if you're struggling today with something, whatever it is, talk to somebody about it. Get into therapy. Be vocal about it to the extent that makes you comfortable. Recently, a South Carolina football player put out a note on social media to talk about his depression, and it went around the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, more people than you know are suffering silently at this space right between the ears. We have got to take away the stigma around mental health. We've got to take away this idea that somehow it makes you weak Somehow you're less attractive, you're less masculine, you're less strong, because let me tell you something, baby, I am a warrior. I have looked and listened to those voices in my head and told them to go back to hell. That I know who I am and I know whose I am. For me, I'm a Christian. No matter what it is you believe, I just want you to have a plan. I want to destigmatize it. I want to start talking about it in a way that's radical and vulnerable. I want to destroy perfect. I want to take those masks that we've been wearing. I want to shatter them. I want to take them and I want to stomp on them. Because so many of us are wearing them. So here's my mask. It's gone. This is who I am. I'm wonderful and powerful and strong and amazing. And I'm a mighty warrior queen. And I've got a story to tell and I'm going to change lives. I hope this inspired you guys today. I love you guys. If you want more information on changing the narrative, you can go to www.imchangingthenarrative.org. www.imchangingthenarrative.org. I'd love to connect with you there.